So this is for the collective. What have we been dealing with as a collective energy here leading up to this new moon solar eclipse? Where are we at now? What's been on our mind? 5 of chalices. Okay, I need to zoom out. Wait, what? Okay. How about I do this? I'll just put it in a little bit. I didn't realize that. It wouldn't fit. Okay, what else do we have here? 6 of chalices. Wow. A lot of emotions. A lot of wishful thinking. King of Wands. Nature. This is also kind of like the Devil card. And the She. This is like the Temperance card. And Knight of Chalices. Wow, so the whole top of this spread, you can see that little dragon peeking in now, yeah? The whole top of this spread is chalices, so water energy. And that's crazy. We pulled water energy earlier. Oh, I see, because Dead Chrome is watching at work. I understand now. I was like, Carly, how are you getting paid to do that? You're putting in tile orders, listening on your headphones. It's perfect. Absolutely. See the beauty in exactly where you are. So I feel like it's like what's been on top has been more like emotional stuff, right? So on the surface, I'm almost seeing this whole spread as like this being the surface and this has been what's underneath. And I feel like we've been dealing with emotions just like coming in and out maybe unexpectedly at this time. Stuff to do with the past, definitely with the 6 of chalices. Stuff to do with disappointment and maybe even like loss or heartbreak with the 5 of chalices. And then the Knight, it's kind of like we've been, I feel like almost like battling through it, right? Making our way through those feelings. And what's underneath, what lies underneath, it's still like unresolved shadow work, a need to stand up for ourselves, and also like a need to open up space for healing. But I almost feel like, and I might be talking a little bit with myself here, that this having the space for healing, that has been a challenge. Like there's been so much going on and maybe we've been having to deal with other people's emotions and experiences and thoughts and feelings and all of this, and we're kind of like taking this on and we're having to, not having to, but we're naturally like absorbing it and stuff. That carving out the space for ourselves to be centered, to be healed, to be calmed, to be calm, to be in balance has been a challenge. And almost like we have to either choose to like really make it happen with the King of Wands, like, oh no, I'm doing this for myself, pure willpower, making it happen, or we kind of get lost into the shadows, like the collective shadows and stuff like that. Is that making sense? Like, is this resonating for anyone? 4K towards the community crystal explosion. Hey, I see that. Are we talking about deodorant here? That's so funny. All right. So it feels to me it's not like we've been swamped. It's like we've been making it through. Like the emotional aspect, which has been very much, maybe it's like also to do with our relationships, like people in our lives. It's like this is external because it deals with other people, versus this internal stuff is more so us like saying, hey, but where am I? Where do I sit in this? You know, and maybe having those two things. Hey, Navnia, you gotta go drive to meet a friend for lunch. Hey, thank you so much. It's good to see you. The visual of giving your friend the sun a hug was awesome. Oh, I'm so glad you liked that. Okay, hold on 1 second. I feel like I heard an alert go off, but I could have imagined it. I think I might have imagined it. Aw, Carly. You're so sweet. You're gonna get your 3-card reading, but you also tipped me. Is that real? Thank you, Carly. You're so kind. By the way, you all, we're doing this special new moon solar eclipse reading, and it is available on Ko-fi, but it's only available today. So if you want it, it's just during this stream. You can get it exactly for yourself, but we're doing this as a community, as a collective at the moment. That's so kind. So, are you all relating to this? Is this is kind of, is this resonating? Have you been dealing with this kind of thing of needing to, I'm almost sensing, and this might be my personal experience, but it's like a need to kind of stand up for my own space and mental well-being, and the pushback that happens with that, and kind of the emotional space in between, where you're like, you're fighting for your own space and your own, like, these are my needs, this is what, and you feel this strongly, I need this and I need to do this for myself, but then there's like a pushback, or maybe it within that space between what others want and expect of you and what you want and expect of yourself, that's where like the emotional push and pull is happening. So much bullshit lately. Yeah, Ryan, you don't know. You canned a chatter on your stream Friday with Mantis. You canned a chatter. Canned. What does that mean? Banned? You're obscenely, when you're obscenely wealthy, you're all gonna benefit. Oh my gosh, Kylie, yes, you're so sweet. I love it. Okay, so this has been the challenge, and I'm curious because what we're gonna do next is we're gonna actually direct this energy. So, and you'll be able to do this like specifically for yourself if you do this reading, but otherwise we're kind of going to take this as a collective and say, what should we do? So this is our next decision. I think this is important because, you know, eclipses have this opportunity for massive change and transformation, and part of it too, I think, is deciding where we are within that and setting an intention and saying, this is how I feel, and this is where I'm going. This is where I'm headed on the other side of this eclipse. I'm setting this intention now. So now that we are doing this, you ripped them a new one. What did they do? Oh my gosh, what did they do? So this is great since we're the day before the eclipse to set these intentions. So with all of this in mind, this kind of need for personal space and work and healing, space for dealing with the shadow, the veil is thin. So I almost see this as being within ourselves as well, like our internal struggles and our external world, the veil is thin between those right now as well, right? So of course it's coming forward into our like personal dealings with other people in this like external way. Of course we're having like emotional repercussions with that. So my question to you all is, what, as a collective, should we read next? Here are our options. So this is for the other side of the eclipse. We've got Love Path. We've got Recovery. This one feels like it's a maybe. Messages. We could also do Messages because the veil is thin. That could be a good one too. Seasonal. Choices. Just in general, see what comes up. Life Path. Work Path. Let me know in chat if any of these are resonating for you right now and you think also connects to the collective message. Self. Self could be good. Time. I feel like time could be good too. Like a lot of this kind of felt like carving out time and space. Goal. Solution, relationship, that could be something too, health, and those are the options. So I'm kind of feeling the ones I set aside that felt the most strongly with this was time, self, messages, or recovery. So are any of these speaking to you? Solution, oh yeah, did I put solution out? I meant to put solution out. Did I not? Yes, there it is. Solution, that's a good option. And hey, it's kind of blue, Carly, and kind of purple. Is it kind of purple? I don't know. I'm just saying that. I want Carly and Taco to vote as well. Okay, so Ryan, you gave them hell, and a few others who've gotten in the habit of joining queue and then leaving. Oh, yeah. Then trying to come back hours later and get back in because the list is shorter. Yeah. They don't support. It affects the streamer, and you're not tolerating that nonsense. I mean, this is not... I'm going to preface this with this has not been a problem for me on Twitch, but on YouTube, and you know, because we've talked about it, dealing with the sort of demanding energy and the kind of entitled energy and the like non-supportive energy, like navigating that and deciding where your boundaries are and what you'll tolerate and what you won't is so important. And also one thing that I've been realizing too is that it might change. Like what I tolerated at one point might change to a different amount of tolerance at another period of time. You know what I mean? So maybe that's part of this as well, is like navigating this like emotional, social, fluid sphere of things that are ever changing, dynamics between people and what people expect of each other. And then King of Wands, yes, standing up for yourself, you know, nature, recognizing the shadow and seeing like, okay, this is actually affecting me negatively. So how can I stand up for myself and change it and give myself space for recovery? Recovery was another option here too. Recovery and healing and bringing myself back into balance, you know? Hey Jean, welcome. So, unless we've got another vote, let's go with solution. So we're going to place this on top and we're about to eclipse all of the cards with solution. We're doing our solar eclipse on the cards themselves. And let's see how this happens to line up. So I'm going to start. Whoa, this is crazy. Look, shadows are right here and it lines up with the shadow card. Oh, Jean, that's okay. There are also readings available on Ko-fi, so you can check that out. So yeah, and this, by the way, Jean, this is a collective reading, so you can also take some of these messages for you. This is for tomorrow for the new moon and solar eclipse. So this is interesting how I'm looking at like how these actually line up with the cards we already pulled, and let's see what like comes forth. So it's like we're coming into, we've got this challenge or obstacle, we've got these kind of feelings of feeling drained, feeling lost, maybe, you know, conflicts with others, whatever it is. This is what we're coming in with. And on the other side of this eclipse, what is the energy for this challenge or obstacle? Yeah, this one's for us all. Exactly. Queen of Chalices. Hey, so look at this. Moving from that Five of Chalices, which is kind of like being in a lack mentality or lost, kind of focused on the negative, we're moving into the Queen of Chalices. And we're saying, hey, you know what? It's okay to feel the feelings. It's okay to feel them and own them and integrate them. And we're not pushing them away, but we are just, we're saying, I embody all of my feelings, and I can do things with it. I can transform it. I can help people with it. But as long as I'm in my own power, you know what I mean? So there we go. So for advice, we're coming into this with a lot of like looking backwards with the Six of Chalices. So let's see on the other side of the solar eclipse, collectively, what is our advice? Hey, we've got another queen, Queen of Athames. Interesting. Queen of Chalices and Queen of Athames. So I guess there'd be an advice here. I think of the Queen of Athames as being someone who's like really solid in setting boundaries. But what I'm also thinking about this is almost like being able to break things down and look at them logically. So separating your feelings in one situation from another situation, you know what I mean? Like saying, okay, I feel this way about this, but that doesn't mean that those feelings and emotion have to blend in and bleed in to this other dynamic that I have in my life, whether that be with a person or with a job or things like that. It's almost like having the ability to separate things. I love those emotes, Carly. So let me know if that's resonating. That feels really solid to me, like yes. And I feel that with the Six of Chalices too, which is underneath this, is like bringing things that are actually not of this moment and not of this time into the moment, and how that can throw you off, and it can make you live in a different, almost like in a different time or space, you know? By the way, you all, if you want this specific reading just for you, you can get it on Ko-fi. It's available just today in preparation for tomorrow for the eclipse. But this is collective, so let me know how it's resonating for you. So outcome. It's interesting because we've got the King of Wands from our previous, before we're eclipsing this, we've got the King of Wands on the other side in terms of outcome. So we've been feeling this desire to stand up for ourselves, I think. And so let's see what the energy is like on the other side of the eclipse, the other side of the new moon and the solar eclipse for the collective. We've got Three of Pentacles. So I see the Three of Pentacles as actually like building a foundation for being able to take things into the physical reality realm of our life. Do you know what I mean? Like making it so that we can actually have steps to do something and implement something. So it's not just something we feel or we're thinking. We're like, okay, how can I like physically start building this into my life? So so I feel that like it's like maybe, you know, we've had this strong desire and we know what we need to do, but on the other side of this, we're like, all right, now I'm taking this into action. Now I'm making this a part of my reality, and I'm able to like build it into being. And part of that is setting that intention right now to do it, right? So that makes sense. And this is so interesting, shadows. So shadows lined up with the Nature card in the Greenwich Tarot, which is also the Devil card, which we were talking about, the shadowy things that have been kind of like pulsing and underlying all of the emotional stuff we've been dealing with leading up to this new moon. So I'm curious what's on the other side in terms of shadows. Like, how are we taking this card? How are we taking this energy on the other side of the eclipse? And how can we set an intention for that? Okay. We've got Seven of Chalices. So this is about choices. Oh, that's so interesting. Choices. And I also see it as being like, maybe even connected here with the Queen of Athames in this idea of sort of separating things, almost like dealing with things one thing at a time. Sorry. Now I'm coughing. I'm talking too fast. But you know how like, if you look at the entirety of everything that's within you and everything that's ever been and everything that you have been going through lately, it can be very overwhelming, and it's like, where do you even start? But with shadow work, there's something very special about breaking it down and taking it just like one piece at a time. I almost feel that with the Seven of Chalices. It's like, first of all, I do want to say that the number 7 is like overcoming and leveling up and using this to do that, I think. But you know how like when you're going to journal, how having a prompt can be so useful? Like, there is definitely a practice of just writing and seeing what comes out, but having a prompt can set you in a specific direction or kind of give you a container in which to hold something. And you know, if you're doing alchemy, if you're transforming energy, you need a container in which to hold it. So you can think of it as this. It's like putting the things in their separate containers and dealing with them one thing at a time, not overwhelming yourself, knowing that it's a process, knowing that it takes time to work through the shadows. So under aid, we've been having this desire for healing and balance, I feel, with the Temperance card. And I also was really seeing this as space for ourselves. If we've been giving a lot, like taking space back for ourselves, I think that we know that that's needed. But I'm curious what is going to come in after the eclipse that could perhaps aid us in doing that. So let's see. We've got the Holly King. Ooh. This feels to me like time alone. Like this reminds me so much of the Hermit card. And I think that it is, right? The Greenwich Tarot is a little bit different, but look, it's, you know, this person with a lantern, the Holly King. I think so, right? I think that this is the Hermit card. Yeah. And having that space for yourself alone. And I think that it's difficult because we have been dealing with the needs of so many others and the want to connect with other people, either to help them or they're expecting us to like be there in a certain way. Maybe we're kind of feeling like spread thin, and it's like carving out that space to just seriously be alone and connect to that inner light and inner truth. That's the Hermit card. And I feel like this healing, this balance that we're wanting, like we need that to balance out all of the stuff we're dealing with other people. And don't forget also, we're going into the darker time. So we're going into the darker time of the year where things do become more internal, and we're supposed to be in a more like restful state and a more reflective state. But society kind of pushes us to have to be very external and busy during this time. Like the holidays are often really busy. December is often a really busy month for people, and it's balancing a lot of different people in your life, you know what I mean? So I feel like coming out of the solar eclipse, really dedicating ourselves, because the Hermit has such a specific dedication. Oh, and hey, the Holly King points to December as well, so we're looking forward in time here. Hey Napster, good to see you. So this is like dedicating ourselves and committing ourselves to having that alone time. And maybe, for example, if you've been thinking about taking up some sort of mindfulness practice with yourself, and it's like, okay, well, when do I do that? You know, all the questions, how do I make it a habit? I almost feel like taking this new moon, solar eclipse tomorrow, as a moment to mark this new beginning and this new commitment could be a wonderful thing to do. And in fact, I want to do that myself. Hey Napster, we're doing a collective reading right now. We're almost through with it actually for the new moon solar eclipse. We've created a wheel of cards and we're eclipsing the wheel itself. But we're also like offering this spread individually on Ko-fi. There are other options on Ko-fi too. So after this we've got Carly with a Ko-fi reading, and then it's wide open. So then our last prompt, our last word here is situation, and I'm kind of taking this as an overall message. So what is our overall message for our intentions going into this new moon solar eclipse? 8 of Athames. Wow, I'm so glad we got this card. There's our final card. I'm so glad we got this card because I see the 8 of Athames as being such a transformative card. It's like, first of all, I imagine it being kind of like imagining that you're in a cocoon and you're about to burst forth as a butterfly. You can almost see that imagery here, right? But it's also a person who's been surrounded by these swords in the ground, and it almost feels like they're trapped in it. But in reality, they're not really trapped. The things that bind them aren't actually binding them. The swords you could actually pretty easily take out of the ground and move through. So it's not that you're trapped, but you're in this uncomfortable moment because you've grown out of the situation that you were in prior. You've grown out of it, you're growing and changing, you're on the verge of like epic transformation. But in this moment is that uncomfortable, like itchy, you know, you're in a cocoon kind of a feeling. And it's like, oh, I'm trapped in this and I'm ready to go, like I'm ready to get out. Mari Aka, am I saying that right? Mary, welcome, thank you so much for following. And happy new moon tomorrow. So glad that you are here. Yeah, so let me know if this is resonating for everyone. But I just like, what a perfect card to get for this experience. And like I said, the eclipse is going to feel like totally transformative. I already kind of feel it happening and coming. And this will be tomorrow. So, yeah, if you all have any thoughts on that, do let me know. I'm going to clip that and post it as a highlight, our collective reading for this new moon solar eclipse. I'm also going to put it on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments below if you have any thoughts. And there we